The situation was very clear. Not my computer center, even Academy of Science has no right to have any business deal with somebody outside of USSR. It was very special agency of Ministry of Foreign Affairs who was authorized to sign some kind of business deals with any other outside entities. And then I start kind of my odyssey over those different agencies in Moscow. I didn't want this too much. I was a little bit afraid of all this kind of activity around this stuff. So any excuse to avoid it, I used in full force. But as soon as I have this telex, I need to do something with it. And I did several agencies, and all of them kind of say, no, we don't deal with software, we don't know how to do this. It's not our main job, and the deal is too small or whatever. Finally, I got very good guy in Ilorg. His last name was Alexeyenko. Sasha Alexeyenko, Alexander Alexeyenko, yeah. He likes programming and he likes us programmers, and that was a very big hope for my little game. So I prepare some kind of paper for agreement between computer center and Delorg. My deputy director just signed it without reading. 3 or 4 months I didn't heard anything of it. And all of a sudden he called me and say, yeah, well, I met Robert Stein. He considered your reply as an agreement. I say, come on, how could it be? It looks like he get this deal as is, and he is sub-licensed it already, and the game is about to come out. We can't do anything like that. So the only thing we could do is just to sign the agreement with them and let them do it. So we don't have we cannot bargain with him already, because he consider this telex reply as a general agreement. That was it. Somehow it happens and stopped. And I never heard about the game, about anything for another kind of maybe 3 or 4 months. But at this time, the new person came to the scene, Mr. Belikov, Nikolai Evgenievich Belikov came on board. He became the chief of my previous friend. We discussed the strategy, we discussed what we could do. We decided we never give up the other platforms and whatever. So we was all in agreement about this stuff.
So I send my guys out to get initial orders for Tetris. And they came back and said, we got 40,000 units. And 40,000 is not enough. Because in order for you to get a repeat order, you have to sell through at least 200,000 copies. And so I made a meeting with you, Mr. Yamauchi, again. So, Mr. Yamauchi, I think I have one of the greatest games in the history of computer games. And my guy, I don't know whether it's my marketing that sucks or whether my sales guys suck. I don't know. But we've only been able to get 40,000 units. Well, he calls in Miyamoto. Miyamoto's the guy who made Mario and Zelda and everything. He called him Miyamoto. Miyamoto, is this a great game? And Miyamoto says, yes. And wow. So, and how do you know? It says, because your secretaries and accountants are playing at lunch and after work. And then he calls in Imanishi. He's the number 2. He goes, Imanishi, I want you to put Nintendo's seal of approval on this game. I was like, whoa, that's like the seal of good housekeeping. And I want you to call every distributor and tell them to order more. I was like, wow, this is some serious action that's going on here. I remember there was a moment when Yamauchi actually thought, he could buy Tetris from me and then let Nintendo publish it. And he said, you'll make much more money if you let me publish Tetris and I'll pay you royalties. And I said, that may be true, but Tetris is my game. The only way that I would give you Tetris is if you would give me Mario. Okay, you got the point. So thank you very much. Go back to Yokohama. Mr. Imanishi calls me back the next day and says, please, please, please don't make me put the seal of approval on the game, because if I do, then every other company is going to want a seal of approval. And then I have to set up a whole department figuring out which games have, get the seal of approval or not. And then it's just going to be a huge headache. So, but I'll call every distributor for you and make them order more. Okay, I thought, well, shoot, as long as I get the orders, I'm fine. So he calls distributors, and we got another 30,000, which is like, oh, come on, So Christmas comes, the distribution has puts our games in all the stores, and it's not selling through. Nobody knows what Tetris is. It's not a game that you can look at an ad and say, oh, I want to play that game. No, you have to play Tetris. And so distributors then, the stores started panicking. The distributors started dumping. Dumping means selling below their cost. I got my guys calling everybody, said, do not dump your software. This is a different pattern from every other game. People have to play the game before they can want to. It'll take off, but it takes off slower. Well, end of January, every place was sold out, and every place was clamoring for more. Beginning of February, we got orders for 200,000 units. Where am I going to get the money for 200,000 units? Because at that time, the way that it worked is you had to pay Nintendo cash up front. Then basically, they go into manufacturing. 2 months later, you get your delivery, it goes into the store. Then you get paid back. So it's 2.5 months before you get your money back. $2.5 million, $2 million, $10 or 1,000 yen a cartridge. And so I went to the bank, and the bank says, where's your collateral for $2 million? And finally, I convinced my wife to convince her family, her father. Basically, they put up all of their real estate, all of it. And so we managed to hang on.
At the CES, that's when we met with Stein, Robert Stein, who had the first version of Tetris that he said he saw while he was in Hungary and was trying to see if there would be an American publisher of that particular game. Stein made his career finding interesting products in the East, Eastern Europe, right, and bringing them to the West. A sole practitioner of licensing people's products, identifying potential talent. I think that was an important function at that time, given the fact that it was really hard to go to a place like the Soviet Union. What was interesting was Robert Stein had shot this game to a few other publishers. One of them was to Broderbund.
I thought, we wouldn't have said this at the time because they didn't exist, but it was more of a handheld kind of game, a little bit of a lightweight game. I didn't feel like it had the heft to be a PC game. I also thought it looked a little messy. It was a story that I heard about where it came from and through whom, but I was dealing with people several steps down the ladder, and I wasn't totally sure of its provenance.
There was a producer at that time, Brad Frager. It's kind of a contract producer. And Brad was saying, hey, I just saw this great game called Tetris that Robert Stein is showing around. You should really, really publish it. Then I got a call from Llamasoft, from Jim McConaughey. Jim goes, hey, Stein is coming to the States. He dropped off this game. We can't stop playing it. Like, we cannot stop playing it.
Jim McConaughey, who was the CEO for Llamasoft, said, I've got something to show you. And he showed me Tetris. I played it for a little bit, just couldn't quit playing it. Jim says, hey, I'm dealing with Robert Stein. He has the rights to it.
Phil was in the meeting, myself was in the meeting, and Stein was in the meeting. I said, I like the game a lot, but I want to make a lot of changes. Right? I want to change the graphics. I want to change the scoring mechanisms, the controls. I want to tweak with it. Can I talk to the programmers? And he goes, you can't talk to the programmers. I go, like,